Please remember the beer garden is on the end of the grandstands under the white tent. It'll be open until the fourth quarter. And of course, we have some fantastic donaires available for you at the other end of at the entrance to NDSS. Once again, welcome to the new VI Raiders Field. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field, all the way from Westshore in Victoria, the Westshore Rebels. At this time, for the third home game at our new field in beautiful Nanaimo, British Columbia, please welcome to the field your VI Raiders.
The wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, let's go, let's go. Raider Nation, let's go, let's go. Raider Nation, are you ready for some football? You ain't ready for no football. You ain't ready for the Raiders. It's the invasion of the Raiders. Are you ready for some football? Yeah. You ain't ready for this football. Ah. Here we come, baby. Just win, baby. Feel the storm of the cold autumn wind, baby. It's the Raiders. Get your mouthpiece. You in the black hole with the black beast. This ain't black gold, this is black silver. Commitment to excellence, we deliver. And we'll play past regulation. It's the invasion of the Raider Nation. Let's go, let's go. Raider Nation. Let's go, let's go. Raider Nation. Are you ready for some football? Yeah, you ain't ready for no football. Come on, it's the invasion of the Raiders. Let's go. Are you ready for some football? Yeah. You ain't ready for this football. Ah. The Raider Nation is united.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, your VI Raiders.
When I hit the field with my eyes.
Beautiful fall night for football. At this time, we'll ask you to please remove your hats and rise if you're able and join us in the singing of our national anthem.
Free.
again, welcome to the third home game at the VI Raiders' new field in Nanaimo District Secondary School. Beautiful new facility with a great new clock and excellent lighting. Of course, you can find out more information on what's going on with your VI Raiders at viraiders.ca. And of course, find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all social medias as well. You can keep up to date with what's going on. Our next home game, October 30th, here. It's a 3 o'clock start. So we encourage you to come join us once again. Once again, remember, you can get it.
Good evening and welcome inside the sports field here at Nanaimo District Secondary School in Nanaimo, British Columbia. Week number 6 in the BCFC, and a great Thanksgiving matchup here. The Battle of the Rock, one of the best rivalries in all of the British Columbia Football Conference. The Vancouver Island Raiders hosting the Westshore Rebels. Thanks so much for joining us here on BCFCTV.com. My name is Dominic Abassi. Alan Felker behind the camera tonight, bringing you this broadcast. And it is not a pleasant evening in Nanaimo. I don't want to oversell the conditions here at the park. It is windy, blustery, very cold, and it has raining pretty heavily here as we get set to kick this one off. And not only is this the Battle of the Rock, the Island rivalry, two teams who do not like each other very much historically, but this game has huge playoff implications as well, as the Rebels come into this game 1-3 in 5th place in the BCFC. The Raiders enter this game 2-2 in 3rd place. So you can get a sense of how important this game is going to be down the line as we move into the second half of the season for these two teams. Of course, Okanagan and Valley have already played 5 games, but for the Raiders and the Rebels, this is their 5th game, and a big opportunity for Westshore to pull into a tie with the 4th place Valley Huskers tonight, and that would also actually create a 3-way tie for 3rd place, in fact, and for the Raiders a chance to put a game between themselves and the Valley Huskers, and 2 games ahead of these Westshore Rebels, as the Rebels kick this ball away, and we are underway here at the NDSS Community Sports Field in Nanaimo. The Rebels in the white uniforms with the red helmets and the white socks. The Raiders in the blacks here at home with the red trim and the red numbers. Raiders will move left to right on your broadcast screens in this first quarter, and as I said, it is not a very pleasant evening here in Nanaimo. It's about 10 degrees at kickoff. I would describe the wind as blustering. I can't really get a read on the directions. There's no flags for me to look at, but really it's not blowing in any particular direction. It's kind of blustering around, and very heavy rain falling here as we get set to kick off a very, very important rivalry matchup here between these two teams. The Raiders come into this game off a nail-biter victory, 21-19 over the Valley Huskers last weekend on the road, and a huge win for the Raiders as they'll start this game on the ground, and with a young man who had himself a very big game last week in Jason Henderson. 18 carries, 110 yards last weekend for the Raider running back, and he was a huge part of that victory over the Valley Huskers. The Raiders starting this drive on their own 10-yard line. The Rebels come into this game off a lopsided loss, 37-7 on the road against Langley last weekend, and looking to force a punt early here if they can. Raiders need about 6 yards for a fresh set of downs. Jake LeBerge, the quarterback in the shotgun set, the 23-year-old veteran. He's going to pull it down, but throw, and this is going to be knocked down, almost intercepted, as Reese Gould was right there and almost had himself an easy interception, and the Raider receiver turning into a bit of a defensive back there to knock that ball away. And so it will be a punt on the first possession for the Raiders here. And a great start for that Rebel defense, and I think maybe that gives you a sense of what these quarterbacks are going to be dealing with. Trying to throw the ball tonight, as you saw that pass come out of Jake LeBerge's hand, and it was fluttering pretty well, and now the Raiders are going to call a timeout here. And you never like to use... You don't like to use a timeout this early in the game, but that's exactly what the Raiders have to do. So on their first drive of the game, after a 2-and-out, a timeout, not sure if it was a personnel issue or what exactly was the problem there. As I said, this is a big game. In the standings, there's no two ways about that. The Valley Huskers is sitting at 2-3 in fourth place right now. The Raiders 2-2, and the Westshore 1-3. So after the timeout, the Raiders will line up to punt this one away. Paul Romanoff standing right on his own goal line, and he's going to surrender 2 points. So a safety yielded on the first drive of the game. And the Westshore Rebels open up a 2-0 lead about 2 minutes into this first quarter of action. And they're now deciding whether Westshore is going to take the ball or force the Raiders to kick off here. A lot of confusion down on the Raiders sideline here, and perhaps a bit of lack of preparedness on the special teams units here, because Raiders were forced to take a punt. Or I should say forced to take a timeout on their first punt attempt of the game, and now they had a bit of trouble getting the kickoff personnel ready, but they've now got them out there and get set to line things up. As I said, a 37-7 loss for the Rebels last week on the road against Langley. Langley obviously is a very strong team in first place at 4-0, so not an easy road trip and matchup at all for the Rebels, and they really struggled on offense. Just 167 yards for the Rebels last weekend, and the Rams put up 437 yards against Westshore, and the one that really stands out, and I mean, the Rebels were able to run the ball last weekend, 141 yards rushing, but only 132 yards through the air. And that is significant when you consider the fact that the Westshore Rebels have the league leading passer in Colby Henkel and the league's leading receiver in Kieran Poisson. So they've got a couple of players on their offensive passing game that can really do some damage. And they were held in check pretty well by the Langley Rams last weekend.
First down for the Rebels.
So the kickoff went out of bounds.
The ball will be placed at the 50-yard line. First down.
And that is head referee John Popplestone with the call. So great field position here, as the Rebels will start on their own 50-yard line with a 2-0 lead early in this first quarter. And it will be a draw on the first play of the game to the veteran Zach Lubin, and he is going to lose yardage on an excellent start to the game for the Raider defense. As I said, Colby Henkel leading the league in passing yards, 57% completion percentage, 869 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, another 23-year-old quarterback. So a matchup of two 23-year-olds pivots in this game for these two teams. 2nd and 11 facing the Rebels here. Raiders with 4 men on the line. They'll bring 6-man pressure. Henkel will throw. He's got a man behind the defense, but not there as it falls incomplete. Looking for Joshua Lucas. And a quick 2-and-out for the Rebels early in this first quarter as they lead 2-0. And Henkel had to get rid of that ball quickly. As I said, the Raiders brought 6-man pressure on 2nd and long. Traditionally a good time to blitz. And the Rebels' offensive line having some conversations as they head off to the bench, trying to figure out their blitz pickup and blocking schemes. Not a great snap, but a pretty good kick here from Michael Olivia. And there's a flag down on the return. It was brought back by Marcel Grant for the Raiders, and the flag came out. And I noted this the last time I broadcasted a game here as well, and I'll point it out too, just in case there's some confusion for those of you watching at home. The white sideline that you see on the field, which would traditionally be the sideline, is not, as it is holding against the Raiders, so that's going to back them up here.
Receiving team, number 34. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Raiders are going to start where are they going to put this ball down here? Well, they're going to march it back even further now. About the 16-yard line is where the Raiders are going to start. So second straight drive, they've started inside their own 20-yard line, thanks to the holding call. So anyways, as I was saying, the white sidelines that would normally be the sidelines for football, that is not the sideline for this game. As the Raiders keep it on the ground on first down and have a short gain. That is high school field markings, because this is also a high school field the community high school football teams play on. So the white markings that would traditionally be the sidelines are not the sideline. In fact, the Canadian field sideline is probably a good 5 yards outside of that white line. It's a blue line that you might not quite be able to pick up on your screen. So don't be confused if you see a player run outside that white line and continue to keep playing. 2nd and 10. Rebels look like they might bring pressure, and they do. Picked up well. LeBerge gets it out, and it is dropped, incomplete. Hunter Bowles was in coverage there, and very good coverage. Marin Bradbrook was the intended receiver there, but LeBerge's pass knocked down, and it will be a punt here. Raiders gave up a safety on their first drive of the game, and they're in territory. They might do the same here, but they are going to punt this ball, and it gets away off the foot and bounces at about their own 45-yard line. So really good field position here for the Westshore Rebels. Rebels lead this game 2-0. 11:20 left to go in this first quarter. And at the 41-yard line of the Raiders is where Colby Henkel will start this drive for his team. Zach Lubin standing beside him in the backfield. 3 wide receivers near side. He'll motion underneath. They'll hand it to Lubin. He'll bounce it out on the far side, and he'll be stacked up there. Ball came out late, and are they going to call this a fumble? No indication yet. The head referee, and yes, it is. I thought he was down. And this will stand as a turnover. It really looked like to me like Lubin was already down on the turf when that ball squirted out. No, actually he was not down. Getting another look at that play, he was not down. That ball came out of his arms. So a fumble by Zach Lubin, and Jake LeBerge and the Raiders will take over. LeBerge running, and he'll throw incomplete. Raiders starting at their own 47-yard line. So a fumble as Lubin puts that ball down on the turf, and the Raiders force themselves a turnover here, and that was a big one because they've been struggling with field position so far in this first quarter, trailing 2-0 to the Rebels. Raiders are -1, so now they're even on the season in the giveaway takeaway category, and that has hurt Westshore because they are now -7. Playing in their 5th game tonight. Is this a long pass? Incomplete. Dropped at the last second by Bonnet Plume. And it will be 3rd down in a punt situation here. LeBerge put that in a good spot. But it will not connect for a 1st down. And the Zach Lubin fumble won't cost the Rebels. They lead 2-0, about 5 minutes gone in this first quarter. On a Raiders. Oh boy. And the Raiders taking a timeout here, and of all the players to be late coming onto the field for punt, it was the punter who was late coming on into the formation there. You would think if anybody was prepared to punt the ball, it would be him. So a timeout. And this might be a little bit of a clue of what we're going to see tonight because of the conditions here. And you wonder how long either of these coaching staffs are going to continue to try and pass the ball, because I don't think, and my statistician, Paul Short to my left here, have we seen a completed pass yet in this game? No. So that is not a great sign, and it's not as though we don't have 2 capable quarterbacks. Now here's a fumbled snap as that ball squirts through the hands of Romanoff, and the Rebels are going to get fantastic field position here at the Raider 20-yard line. So Romanoff was able to recover the ball after the high snap squirted through his fingers, but he is gobbled up. That's the 30-yard line. Where the Rebels are going to take over here. Now there's a bad snap low, and this play is going to get eaten up quickly in the backfield, and negative yardage coming up for a late hit as well, as they tried to run the underneath handoff to Kieran Poissant, and the snap was low, ruined the start of that play, and then late at the end of it, Ivan Shu with a bit of a shot in the back and a late hit. $15-yard penalty, and it is 2nd and an absolute mile, and there goes that fantastic field position the Rebels had. They started at the 30, and it's 2nd down back at the 50. So they need 20 yards just to get back to the original line of scrimmage. There's the first completion of the game as Poissant pulls that in. the league's leading receiver as far as yardage goes, and receptions as well. That's his 19th reception of the year. 386 yards through the air coming into this game for Kieran Poissant, but it won't be anywhere near enough to even get close to the original line of scrimmage, let alone a first down, and the Rebels will punt this ball away. They lead this game 2-0, about 6 minutes into the first quarter. Oh, and it's a fake. A high snap, and there's some good room here, but needing the 30-yard line, and it's going to be a first down. What a play. Huge play by the Rebels, a fake punt. Jaron Hardesty takes the direct snap as the up back. And it is a first down on the fake punt. What a gutsy play by the Rebels coaching staff, and well, a great part of the field to call that play in, because they were in plus territory. They weren't going to be pinned deep if they didn't get it. Now a handoff underneath, and this is going to be a touchdown. One play after the fake punt. It's an underneath handoff to Roy Uth, and he is in the end zone, and the Rebels have an 8-point lead. On an 18-yard touchdown run, the extra point by Marco Dizzy is through. And it is a 9-0 Westshore lead. What a nice play. The underneath handoff worked perfectly. But an 18-yard touchdown run? 19. And the Rebels have run that underneath handoff a couple of times tonight. And that one was executed perfectly. (9-0). Westshore Rebels have the lead. 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. And it has really been all Westshore in the last couple of minutes. And there's a great job on kickoff coverage by Kai Mitchell-Wynn, darting through the Raider return team, and you can feel the momentum on the side of the visitors now. Raiders will start at their own 30-yard line. A little bit of history on the line tonight for Jake LeBerge. As Jake needing 8 attempts tonight to break the all-time BCFC record for passing attempts. And there's a bad snap over his head. And it's going to be at best a safety. And it is. Wow, everything going against the Raiders right now. Make it 11-0. And the Westshore Rebels are going to get the ball back. And just a miserable start to this football game. Yeah, the Raiders start exactly matching the weather. And these special teams transitions are taking a long time tonight, too. So 8:35 to go in the first quarter, and it is 11-0 for the Rebels. They've already scored more points here tonight than they were able to put up all of last week against Langley. And what a sequence we've seen here. The Raiders force a fumble by Zach Lubin and take over the ball at their own 47-yard line, looking like they were in a great position and with the potential to maybe start moving the ball into plus territory. But they went 2 and out, and a punt was botched as the ball went way over the head of the punter. And the Rebels started out with fantastic field position at the Raiders' 20-yard line, but then the Rebels took a penalty and had a negative play, were forced all the way back near midfield and were in a position to punt the ball, but they ran a brilliantly executed fake punt as Jaron Hardesty, the up back, took the direct snap and rumbled for a first down all the way up the left sideline. And the very next play, and a 19-yard handoff to Roy Uth, and he scores to make it a 9-0 Rebel lead. And then shortly after that, well, really the next play on offense for the Raiders is a snap that goes over the head of Jake LeBerge and into the end zone. And LeBerge is forced to fall on it and give up a safety, and quickly it's 11-0 for Westshore. Second and about 9 after the first down handoff didn't go anywhere. Henkel, quick drop, throws, he's got a man, just incomplete. Poissant in behind the defense, and he was gone if that pass was on the money. But it was just out of his reach as he dove to pull that one in. Poissant was gone behind the defender, and Henkel put it in a place where he could maybe make a play, but just too far. And the Rebels will come out to punt, and you can be sure that the Raiders are saying, watch out for the fake punt, because they were burned on that a few moments ago. Halfway through the first quarter here, 11-0 Westshore in the lead, and they will punt this away, and it's high and it's short, end over end. Very difficult to handle that for the returner, and it will skip out of bounds. Actually, a pretty good result for the Rebels at the 20-yard line. So the 5th drive of the game coming up for the Raiders, and they have had a heck of a time. A couple of safeties and punts otherwise for this Raider offense. As I said, a chance at some history here tonight for Jake LeBerge. He needs 8 passing attempts to tie, 9 to pass Jordan Yance for the all-time BCFC record in pass attempts. 949 is the record set by Jordan Yance, one of the all-time great, well, perhaps the all-time great quarterback in the CJFL. Set passing records that will never be touched. 121 passing touchdowns in Jordan Yance's career. And LeBerge is second all-time with half that at 63. And LeBerge second all-time again in yards as well, 7,785 in his career. Yance almost 11,000 passing yards in his career. And if you remember the seasons with Jordan Yance, 2008 to 2012. 2 Canadian Bowls in there. The quarterback that played the most years with Andrew Harris as well. There is the first connection of the game, as LeBerge puts that ball right in the perfect spot for Bonnet Plume, sliding over the middle of the field, and it's a first down up to the 40-yard line. About 20 yards on that pass play. Now Henderson goes left side. It'll be a short game. I believe that's the first completion of the game for the Raiders passing game. And the first down as well. Almost more than halfway through. Almost 10 minutes through this first quarter, and that's the first down. LeBerge facing 2nd and 5 here. Rebels bring the blitz. LeBerge flushed out. There's a flag down as well. That has to be against the Raiders, you would figure. LeBerge is able to run for the first down to midfield. But this is going to come back. A chop block. So an illegal chop block, 15-yard penalty, and what would have been a first down conversion for Jake LeBerge with his legs instead is going to be a redo of 2nd down, but the Raiders backed up inside their own 35. Rebels instead, only with 4-man pressure. Ball was down on the turf. LeBerge picks it up. Now he's going to just have to make something happen. And that something is going to be getting pushed out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage, and the punt team will come on. So a very, very costly penalty against the Raiders for the chop block, as the Rebels are able to get the desired result with their blitz. They didn't get home, but they drew a penalty. And with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, an 11-0 Westshore lead. Now the ball squibbed. A blocked punt, the latest positive play to go the way of the Rebels here in this first quarter, as they have dominated this game on special teams in almost every way. Delayed handoff, Lubin, short gain on first down. Fifth drive of the game for Westshore, the third one that started in Raider territory. And the Raiders special teams have been awful tonight. Really costing them. 2nd and 9. 4-man pressure, flag flies. Henkel scrambles, throws, complete. And a first down, but we'll see what the flag says. Roy Uth pulled that one in. Oh, it's going to come back.
1. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
So only 5-yard penalty, but extremely costly because it would have been a good gain and a first down inside the 20. Instead, it is now second and long, backed up to the 40-yard line. Henkel, with an average game, could crack the 1,000-yard passing mark on the season. Here he's going for a big chunk, and it's incomplete. As again, Poissant had a hole up the seam, but Henkel went too far for him, and there is a flag down in the secondary here, away from where the ball went, on the other side of the field. You have to figure that might be defensive holding. Yeah, illegal contact.
Illegal contact. Defense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
So the Rebels, a much more manageable second down after the illegal contact penalty against the Raider defense. 11-0 West Shore, 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Henkel on second down, wide receiver screen complete to Josh Lucas, and he has the yardage needed. Just inside the 20, first down Rebels. .255 left to go in the first quarter. West Shore up 11 points and at the first down here at the Raider 20. Oh, and a bad snap on the ground, and Henkel is going to go down. About a 15-yard loss on first down. Boy, we've seen a lot of mistakes from these two teams here tonight. Blocked punts, bad snaps. And certainly you can blame a certain amount of that on the conditions. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to play through the conditions and be efficient and effective. So second and very long after the bad snap. Another flag is out here. Henkel didn't have his first read. Gets out of the way, throws a nice pass and an even better catch. But again, a flag as Michael Oliva pulls that ball in. But that flag would be probably in the area of an offside.
Offside, West Shore.
Offside. Offense number 1. 5-yard penalty.
Offside Rebels again. Goodness. They have hurt themselves with penalties on this drive. Under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. 11-0 for the visitors here in Nanaimo. Henkel in the shotgun. 3 wide receivers topside. 2-step drop, throws near side, and that is way long. And it will be a third down. And what will the Rebels do? I mean, they need... The first down marker is at the 10-yard line. And they're scrimmaging at about the 38 right now. So they're nowhere near where they need to be, and you wouldn't think they would try and go for it here, but... And they won't. They'll bring on the punt team. But again, the last time they were around this part of the field and trying to punt the ball, the man who's jogging onto the field late here, Jaron Hardesty, got a direct snap and ran it for a first down. I wouldn't expect they would try that same play again, and they won't. This is a booming kick. Great one. Forces the Raider returner back into the end zone. He is able to get it out. However, and that will move the ball up and not give up any points either. So 1:11 left in the first quarter. 11-0 Westshore leads. And the Raiders will get to start at their own 20-yard line. And despite the fact that they lead 11-0, Westshore could really be up even further. 3 of their 5 drives have started inside the Raider half of the field. They've only able to get points on 1 of those. Points with their offense anyways, that is. They have forced a couple of safeties. So LeBear's in the shotgun, hands it off. There's a big hole right side. Excellent gain. As Jason Henderson plowed ahead there, really nice hole on the right side of that offensive line. Henderson second in the league in rushing coming into this game, but by an absolute mile, as he is being more than doubled, him and the rest of the league being more than doubled as a short second down is converted for a first down for the Raiders. Malcolm Miller from the Okanagan Sun having himself just an unbelievable season so far. Almost 100 carries and 794 yards on the year, averaging 8 yards a touch. And he absolutely shredded the Raiders here a couple of weeks ago. It was a 300-plus yard effort from him in that game. One of the all-time rushing performances. Handoff on first down. Henderson's not going to have much room here. So Henderson, as I was saying, second in the league in rushing. That's great. But he is a long way back with his 362 yards coming into this game. Out of town scoreboard. Ooh. The Broncos losing 89-0 to the Okanagan Sun in the fourth quarter of that game. Oh boy, the Okanagan Sun emphatically moving to 5-0 as we're through the first quarter here, and the teams will switch ends of the field. 11-0 Raiders trailing. So the Sun moving to 5-0, the winless Broncos getting hammered 89-0. And in the other action, the final, this is the final here now. The Langley Rams beating the Valley Huskers 27-4. And that's the other action around the BCFC this weekend. Second down. And the Raiders facing 3rd and 2, and they're going to punt the ball here. The Rebels will be watching here in case there's any trickery with only 3rd and 2 right now. So the Rams move to 5-0. Sun moved to 5-1. Valley falls to 2-4 on the season, and the Broncos 0-5. Oh boy, you can tell which way the wind is blowing now. There's a huge punt. It's going to be scooped up, and a short return with a no yards flag down here as well. And I will let folks know, for those of you watching at home, if you're hearing some wind noise through our mics here, we do apologize for that. I know that's not an overly desirable noise, but there's not much we can do about it because that is the nature of the evening here. I guess it gives you insight into the reality of the conditions here tonight. It is extremely windy down in the field and up here in our broadcast location. So we do apologize for the noise, but there's not much we can do, unfortunately, in these conditions. October football at its finest here. Thanksgiving weekend in Nanaimo. Week 6 in the BCFC season. Game 5 for both of these teams. And the Westshore Rebels right now are really playing very well, leading this game 11-0 as we are in the early stages of the second quarter. Westshore starting this drive around their own 35. And flags are going to fly. This is the worst field position of the game for the Rebels for a starting of their drive, by the way. So we set off the top. This is a big game for these two teams, and you see why with Valley losing today to Langley, and they're 2-4 now. So if the Raiders can pick up a victory,
First down.
you get a sense of how windy it is down on that field. So a false start and a 1st and 15. So if the Raiders can find a way to win here, they would move to 3-2. They would put themselves a game up on the Valley Huskers, but with a game in hand, and they beat the Huskers head-to-head last weekend. So they would be in an excellent position in 3rd place, and they would be 2 games clear of Westshore. And conversely, if Westshore picks up the victory here, they'll move up to 2 wins, and they will move into a 3-way tie for 3rd place with Valley and the Raiders, and they would have a game in hand on Valley as well. So huge implications for the standings here as we're in week 6, game 5 for these teams. Of course, it is a shortened season, only 8 games instead of the usual 10 for these clubs this year. So very huge standing implications for the second half. Raiders are going to get home on 2nd and long as the protection breaks down, and Andrew Atondo puts Colby Henkel on the ground to end this drive, or at least force a 3rd and long anyways. Atondo coming straight through. Henkel, to be fair to his O-line, had a decent amount of time at first, but he didn't have a target, and that quickly ended that foray for the Rebels. Bad snap. And a bad kick, although under the circumstances, who could blame? And the Raiders are going to have fantastic field position. A bunch of flags down here. I can see at least 3 flags on the field. And it has been a zoo on special teams tonight for both teams, really. In a good way, a couple of times for Westshore, but not so here. Many bad snaps we've seen as well on offense and special teams. 3 minutes into the second quarter, 11-0. Westshore has the lead. Multiple flags down here after a broken punt play. Roughing on the Raiders. And there was a penalty against
We have no
yards too.
5-yard penalty. And then at the end of the play, unnecessary roughness, number 90 on the receiving team. The net difference is 10 yards. First down.
It would be 10 yards back for the Raiders as a 5-yard no yard penalty against Westshore and a 15-yard major against the Raiders. They'll start their 7th drive of this game at their best position so far at the Rebels' 50-yard line. Badly in need of points right now are the Raiders. And they're going to look deep, and it's not going to connect, as LeBerge put that deep and too deep. 6 passes today for Jake LeBerge. He's 1 for 6. And so he now has 947 pass attempts in his career. He's 2 attempts behind tying the all-time record for passing attempts in the BCFC. I bet he wishes more than one of his 6 attempts had been completed, though, so far tonight. 2nd and 10. Blitz. Pressure. LeBerge gets out and throws, and there's his 2nd completion of the game, and it's 10-15 yards at a first down. As that is a connection with, I believe that's Bonnet Plume down there. And that is the Raiders' leading receiver, Alex Bonnet Plume, who's now up over 200 yards on the season. And he is 4th in the league coming into this game with receiving yards, as LeBerge puts that one on the money. First down pass, and that's another completion and another first down, and a good run after the catch as well. And a flag came out late. Dylan Pye with some excellent work. Okay. Shane Beatty, the Rebels head coach, very unhappy with the net result of that play.
Unnecessary. Number placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Sam McPherson called for unnecessary roughness at the end of that play. So a big gainer to Pye and the penalty on the end, and it's 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Raiders down by 11, but with a chance to get right back into this football game. LeBerge goes under center. They're going to hand it off. And he's in. Touchdown. Taylor Becker gets the 1-yard handoff. And the Raiders are into this football game. Extra point, make this a 4-point lead for the Rebels. Oh, it's no good. Yes, that was drilled on a line drive into the bottom of the upright. So the special teams continues to be, well, the opposite of special for the Raiders tonight. And 4 minutes into the second quarter, it's an 11-6 Westshore lead. High, short kickoff here, and this one is going to skip out of bounds. We've seen that a couple of times now tonight. 7th drive of the game for the Rebels, beginning at their own 40-yard line. Henkel being chased down, gets it away, and it's incomplete. And really, the Rebels offense has not been able to generate a ton tonight either, outside of getting a lot of help from a really well-executed fake punt. Other than that, it has not been a very impressive offensive night for either one of these teams. 5-point lead for the visitors, 11-6. 5 minutes gone in the second quarter. As the wind continues to blow hard here. It looks like the rain has tapered off considerably. Underneath handoff. Lots of room and a first down. Great run and more than a first down. All the way to the 45-yard line of the Raiders. Jaron Hardesty, the man who set up the first touchdown of this game with his fake punt carry, with an excellent gain there. 25 yards on the underneath handoff. Coming in motion from the slot receiver position and getting that handoff. Scampering up, get some great blocking out in front and made a few men miss, and it's a big gain. And the Rebels have been very effective with that underneath handoff on a couple of occasions this evening. Injury timeout here. It's the Raiders. Brady Banerjee was down on a knee, but he's up under his own power to the sidelines. First down after the 25-yard carry by Hardesty. Henkel to Zach Lubin. Nice cutback through the hole, and he's got a first down and more. Over the 30. And he'll finally be corralled there, about 15 yards. So 40 yards on back-to-back rushes here, and the Rebels start to get something moving. And a great answer from Westshore right after the Raiders put their first touchdown on the board. Westshore has come right back down the field. 40 yards on back-to-back rushing plays, and they'll go on the ground for a third. And a shorter gain, but a good one, although there is a flag down from the head referee, John Popplestone. And again, you get a sense of how windy it is here tonight. As the wind is gusting and blustering. I think, best I can tell, the Rebels are moving into the wind right now, but again, it's kind of multi-directional. It's not really blowing in one way or another. It is, I think, still maybe raining lightly here, but the rain at this exact moment should not be
against
really
the
an
Rebels.
issue.
Repeat first down.
It's a 10-yard penalty, so it'll be 1st and 20.
Holding is the call against the Rebels. That'll back them up. So a redo of first down. Back at the 40. Henkel. Nice ball, and that's going to be caught. And what a great job by Michael Oliva, taking hard contact and hanging on to that ball as Lennox Murray lowered the shoulder. And Oliva did a really great job holding on to that ball. Henkel put it in a good spot, but as any receiver will know, when your quarterback floats the ball up with air underneath it, or when you're going over the middle of the field, you better be ready. And full credit to Oliva, who stayed right with that. Took a solid pop at the end of that play and held on to the ball, and he's going to make it off under his own power with a bit of a jog as well. So he's going to be okay. Probably just winded, I would have to say, and a big hit from Lennox Murray, but it's a big completion on 1st and 20. They get 15. And a very manageable second down now. At the 25-yard line, handoff. The ball is on the ground. And the Raiders have it. Another fumble by this Rebel offense, their second one. And the Raiders with a big turnover. And the Raiders get the ball back. About their own 25-yard line. Trailing by 5 points here. And you get the sense this is really still anyone's game. There's a deep pass. Bonnet Plume couldn't track it down. Second fumble of the game that the Raider defense has recovered. As I mentioned, too, the Rebels are a minus turnover team. If you look at the turnover takeaway giveaway statistic, the Rebels are a minus team. And I don't know if Alan, our camera guy, can get a shot here. He's backing off the field now. Maybe we can see our Rebels head coach Shane Beatty is literally on the field right now. I don't think he quite recognizes the sideline situation, as there's a great pass and catch. Wonderfully thrown ball and an even better catch by Marin Bradbrook on the end, and it's a big gain and a first down near midfield. And Shane Beatty was almost playing safety on that play as he was roaming his way out onto the field. And a great pass. Raiders with a fresh set of downs. They'll throw again. This one will skip and fall incomplete. And LeBear's getting himself in a bit of a flow here now. He had a heck of a time to start this game. And that will do it as well for that record we were talking about. Jake LeBear's now is the all-time leader for passing attempts in BCFC history, passing Jordan Yance. 953 pass attempts in his career, and this will be not 54, not 954, as he decides to keep it and leaps over a man. And it's very close to first down yardage with the leap at the end of that play. The 23-year-old showing some creativity and just making it happen. And this spot is right on the mark, and they're going to move the chains. This drive started all the way back at the Raiders' own 25-yard line. And they're now up past midfield. A couple of big chunk plays. Jake LeBear's making it happen with his legs there on second down. Handoff now to Henderson. Ball's out. It's loose. And the Rebels are going to get it. That ball came flying out of the pile. And Hunter Bowles, Johnny on the spot, picks it up. And just like that, the best drive of the game for the Raiders offense is over. First turnover of the night. As Henderson went into the pile and really kind of inconspicuous, and the ball just came squirting out of there. So I don't know if it was punched out or if he dropped it or what happened. But the effects of the wet ball and the wet field are being felt there as the flag flies out now. Too many men against Westshore. Mental errors. 11-6 the score for the Rebels. 6:44 to go in the second quarter.
Five-yard penalty.
So 1st and 15. Rebels are going to try that underneath handoff play. It's Hardesty again, and again a nice gain. And look at him. Only a one man to beat, and he'll be pulled down by the last man back, Blake Johnson. Jaron Hardesty with a huge rip. And he is down at the end of the run. What a run there by Hardesty, as he has had on the last 2 drives, big gains. 32 on that one. He has gains tonight of 27, 25, and 32. The 27 coming on that fake punt, I believe. So almost 100 yards rushing on 3 touches for Jaron Hardesty, but of concern for the Rebels here, he is down. Well, that's the Raider defensive back now that's being tended to. Hardesty is okay and was able to make it off the field. Let's see. Looks like 43. So Jacob Gilman is down with the training staff here right now. And very gingerly is going to get back to his feet here. So 1st and 10 after the big run by Hardesty. Up at the Raider 45. There's a pass picked off. Intercepted, and who else? In that second, oh, that was actually Sean Adams. Excuse me, I thought that was Guy Van McNally. Hardesty, who had 2 picks last week and was the CJFL Defensive Player of the Week, but it was Sean Adams who pulled that in, an underthrown ball by Colby Henkel. Adams elevates and brings it down, so the interception. And back-to-back drives, ending in turnovers. Third turnover of the first half for the Rebels. First interception thrown by Henkel. And the Raiders will start, albeit deep in their own territory, but they are able to keep the Rebels from putting any points on the board. And look at Shane Beatty, very animated at the best of times that on the Rebel bench, as he is again well onto the field, animated and gesturing to his club. 2nd and about 4 after a nice gain by Henderson on 1st down. They'll go to the up back. Becker not there. An immediate stop. And great penetration by Tyrese Hogue. And a quick 2 and out here. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Rebels leading by 5, 11-6. A touchdown and 2 safeties for the Rebels, and the Raiders have a touchdown that they were unable to convert the extra point on. The wind at the back of Paul Romanoff as he gets set to punt this one away from his own 15. And the wind driving this one. Poisson, well, that's not Poisson, excuse me. That's Josh Lucas, and he's buried. And a flag is down. Strong wind gusts again here at the NDSS field in Nanaimo. And it's a penalty against the Rebels as well. Perhaps a bit of a momentum shift happening here. It really has been all, or it was at least for a period, they're going all the way of the Rebels, but a couple of turnovers on back-to-back drives, and now a great play on special teams and a penalty. The Rebels a bit backed up here at their own 30. Actually, their worst starting field position of the day. And Zach Lubin is not going to be able to get the corner there. as he's gobbled up just in front of the Rebel bench. Under 5 minutes to go, first half. Rebels with a 5-point lead. They're facing second and about 9. Henkel to throw. Flushed out of the pocket, and he'll be hauled down as he lets loose a pass that falls incomplete. And I thought I heard somebody just say that it felt like the wind died down a little bit, but judging by the way that the rain is falling and kind of blowing across the lights across the field from us here, I think there's still some gusts, certainly at field level, and you can hear them on our mics up here in the broadcast area. And here's a high punt into that wind. Awkward exchange near the ball, but the Raiders are able to pick it up, and they'll start this drive in Rebel territory. Best starting field position of the day for the Raider offense. Well, actually not quite, just about the same as the yard line where they started their only touchdown drive of this game. This is the 10th drive for the Raiders. They've given up 2 safeties. They've fumbled the ball. The rest punts, except for that touchdown drive on their 7th drive of the game that made this an 11-6 game. There's another bad snap. LeBerge doesn't fall on it and throws it away, but I have to think that that is grounding, and it is. He was not outside of the pocket, and I can tell you for a fact there was no receiver in the area unless you count the coaching staff on the bench. And these bad snaps continue to be a factor here. And you really just can't have that. It's one thing, I suppose, on special teams with the long snapper, and that's a bit of a slightly more complicated mechanism. But that center quarterback exchange on a shotgun snap, that should be automatic. You just cannot afford to give up what the Raiders just did there. Gave up about 30 yards of field position. This will be the last play before the 3-minute warning. There is a flag down. Great move and a nice gain, but we'll see as Marcel Grant skipped through a tackle. Picked up about 15, but flag down way back. And that is usually indicative of an offensive penalty. It's against the Raider offense. Three-minute warning. Westshore Rebels 11, Raiders 6. It has been eventful, to say the least, here in this first half. Sloppy, yes. Not great execution from either side, but you have to blame the conditions for a good amount of that. It has been raining pretty much nonstop since before kickoff. It is raining heavily at times. It is very windy. And it's 2nd and a mile. LeBerge gets it off. Oh, and it's just incomplete. Unbelievable. If that ball was in a better spot, Bonnet Plume could have been gone to the house in a strange second down situation. The Raiders scrimmaging, they snapped that ball at their own 20-yard line. The first down marker, you'd have to pan out significantly to see it. It's all the way up at the Rebel 40. And despite that, facing second down and math that is too hard for me to do on the spot, they could have hit a touchdown to the house if LeBears put that on the right spot for Bonnet Plume. What a bizarre play there. I'm going to Rebel down on a knee here now. Austin Morgan able to get off the field under his own power. And again, this is so strange as the Raiders are going to punt this ball. The punter may even consider taking a safety here, standing at his own 5-yard line. The return man is not even past where the first down marker is. And this is a pretty good kick. And angled out of bounds just past midfield. So all things considered, really not a bad result. There is a flag down, though. Oh, boy. I would not re-kick this if I was the Raiders. I don't understand why they would I mean, the chances are, and I may be proven wrong immediately here, but the chances are that this does not end up better than what they just got, which is a ball out of bounds at midfield. Considering your punter was standing at his own 5-yard line in the shadow of his own goalpost. But the Raiders have accepted the offside penalty, and they're going to re-kick, so we'll see. Maybe they'll end up better off. I do like to gamble. I'm a betting man. I would bet that they... Oh, now they've... Yeah, there we go. They've decided not to accept that penalty. And the Rebels are a bit confused of where to go to line up here. They'll start right at the midfield stripe, and I think that was the right choice. That drive started at the Rebel 51-yard line, and now the Rebels will start at the 55-yard line. So the Rebels gained 4 yards out of the wash after that drive. Not a great sequence for the Raiders. Henkel will pass. That is complete. Joshua Lucas gets about 5 to the Raider 50, second down. 2:30 on the clock, first half winding down. 11-6 the score for Westshore. Henkel to throw. Near side, Lucas again makes a tackle miss, and he's got the fresh set as you see the young man get up and point forward. Yes, indeed. Right at the Raider 40-yard line. Time not an issue at all. Plenty of time on this drive for the Rebels to try and manufacture late points here in the first half. Add to their 5-point lead. First down pass. Lubin out of the backfield. Lowers his head, and he's got a good gain. As Henkel takes his release valve, his running back out of the backfield, and gets a very nice gain on first down. Positive yardage. Always the bonus. Second and short. Delayed handoff. Should be a first down. Under 90 seconds to go. Rebels putting together a nice little drive here. 2 first downs. Henkel ducks a tackle. Second one, not so lucky. He'll go down in the backfield. Brady Banerjee, number 50, with the sack as he breaks through. And that is a big play by the Raider defense. Brings up second and long back to the 35, and there's really no way you could kick a field goal confidently into this wind from this distance. So unless the Rebels get some yardage here, or obviously a first down, they're probably going to be looking at going for it on third. Henkel steps up. Now he doesn't see it, and he's going down. Back-to-back sacks by the Raider defense. That was a team effort there, as Nicholas Robinson and Braden Belton were right in to pull down Henkel, who is, for all the things he does extremely well, not a particularly mobile quarterback. A big man, 240 pounds plus. But he's hauled down on back-to-back plays, so a really promising late half drive will be stalled out on third and long here. And what will the Rebels do? Again, I really cannot see kicking a field goal into this wind right now. It would be a 42-yarder regardless of the wind, and that for junior football is a relatively lengthy field goal, not automatic by any means. Rebels, I think, see an opportunity to maybe get 1 point here. Simon Hales, the punter, boots it. Good kick, but again, that wind just pushing that ball out of the end zone, and so they will know there will not be a single point for Westshore to earn here. 40 seconds to go in the first half. 11-6, Westshore in the lead, so the best case scenario, really one of the best case outcomes on that drive for the Raider defense, as they're able to get back-to-back sacks and force a punt. And I have to give full credit to every single one of the fans who came out to this game tonight, because it is frankly very unpleasant outside here tonight in Nanaimo, as the Raiders will throw on first down. Lots of room here. The Rebels obviously playing very soft coverage. Timeout here by the Rebels, with 32 seconds on the clock. Raiders are on their own 35, so they have a long way to go to try and manufacture some points here at the end of the half. As I was saying, though, full credit to every fan who came out here tonight. It is very chilly. It says it's about 9 or 10 degrees on the thermometer, but I'll tell you, with the wind and the rain, once you've been out here for a bit, it's feeling significantly different than that. My cameraman Alan Felker says he's about -2 right now, and he's got the heater facing him. I don't want to hear about it.
It's out. We ran out of propane.
Well, this is a problem now. Our heater's out. It's not even halftime. Send help. So how aggressive will the Raiders be here? 1st and 10. 35-yard line in their own half. I think they might have one timeout left, do the Raiders. Well, that gives you a sense of their aggressiveness level. They'll hand it off, but a flag is down, despite a good gain here on first down. offside against the offense. Going to bring it back. 25 seconds to go in the half. LeBerge is going to try and throw. He's going deep. And he's got a man, and it's dropped. Oh, Marin Bradbrook. Right through his arms, and he would have been into Rebel territory there. .20 seconds left in the half. There's another pass deep, incomplete, flag down. Brox Comia, little bit early on the contact.
Forward pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Yeah, man, is it windy at field level or what? You can just get a sense of that. John Popplestone's mic is barely hanging in down there, I think. 15 seconds, 17 seconds on the clock. Raiders trailing 11-6. Trying to maybe see if something improbable could happen here before the half. LeBerge, he's going to face the blitz, and he's going to be flushed out, and he's going to go down. As really an excellent job, I think, laying down on the ground. Making that tackle was Austin Morgan. He is down, cramping up, would be my guess from this situation. 13 seconds on the clock. I mean, I guess you never know what could happen. I figure you probably kneel on this ball here and end this half if you're the Raiders, but I suppose anything can happen. Second and 10. Incomplete pass. Draw, handoff, flag is down. Leaping over a man for a first down is Kobe Lechuk-May. But there is a flag down, as that will, unless this is a defensive penalty, should be the last play of the first half. That'll do it for the first half, as the teams will head off for some respite from the weather in the locker rooms here. Westshore Rebels 11, Vancouver Island Raiders 6. in the first half of this all-important Thanksgiving Battle of the Rock. We'll take a break for halftime, be back in about 15 minutes. You're watching BCFC TV here in Nanaimo. Welcome back in Nanaimo, the NDSS Sports Field, as the Vancouver Island Raiders get set to kick the ball away here to open the second half action here. Week 6 in the BCFC, Thanksgiving weekend, and the Battle of the Rock, one of the better rivalries in BCFC history, the Raiders and the Rebels. The Rebels leading this game 11-6, and they will get the ball first to begin the second half with a chance to widen their lead as well. It was a, I wouldn't say bizarre, but just a bit of a different first half. Definitely sloppy by both of these teams. A lot of mistakes, some big plays as well. That ball is loose off the kickoff here, and the Raiders think they have it, and they do! Oh my goodness! What was I saying about sloppy play? That is the 4th turnover of the night. The 3rd fumble. As the Rebels fumble the opening kickoff of the second half, and the Raiders will start at the 30-yard line. Huge play. And LeBears is going to throw right out of the gate to the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders! What a start to the half. Alex Bonnetplume from Jake LeBears for 30 yards and a touchdown, and the Raiders have their first lead of the game. And we got a Rebel down in the end zone here. That's Hunter Bowles who's holding his right knee, but it's Alex Bonnetplume with a 30-yard touchdown catch from Jake LeBears. And the Raiders with a 12-11 lead, their first lead of this ball game. As Bowles will be tended to down in that end zone. For Bonnetplume, his 4th receiving touchdown of the year. He's 2nd in the league in receiving touchdowns. And for Jake LeBears, that is his 9th passing touchdown, and he leads the league in that category. Of course, that was coming into today. I'm not sure what the stats in the other games were. I would imagine that the Sun probably passed for a few touchdowns in their 80-plus points today. Unbelievable start to the second half. The Rebels fumble the kickoff, and the very next play, LeBears goes 30 yards through the air to Bonnetplume for his 4th touchdown of the year, as Bowles will be helped up to his feet here. The first half, the first possession of the game, the Raiders gave up a safety as they were yielding 2 points instead of punting the ball out of their own end zone. And that made it 2-0 for the Rebels. The Rebels then got the first touchdown of the game on their 3rd drive. A fake punt keeps the drive alive. And the next play after the fake punt, an 19-yard touchdown run by Roy Uth as he puts it in the end zone. 9-0 Rebels. On the very next drive, another safety by the Raiders. That made it 11-0. And it stayed that way as now the Raiders are going to go for a 2-point conversion here, and that will be incomplete. So it will be 12-11. So as I was saying, 11-0 for the Rebels until the second quarter, when the Raiders put together a 50-yard scoring drive capped off by a 1-yard plunge into the end zone by Taylor Becker. Made it 11-6, and that is where we ended at halftime. In the first half, 3 turnovers by the Rebels, 3 fumbles, 1 fumble by the Raiders for their only turnover. but it's how we started the second half that has swung this game quickly. The opening kickoff of the second half fumbled. Jake LeBerge, his 9th passing touchdown of the season, 4th caught touchdown of the year for Bonnet Plume, 30-yard major, 2-point conversion, no good, 12-11 for the Raiders. Some first half stats to pass along your way. Big thanks to Paul Short, statistician on the broadcast here. The Raiders with 10 first downs in the first half, the Rebels with 8. The Rebels had 118 rushing yards on 13 carries. The Rebels 16 for 67. Colby Henkel passing 5 of 13 for just 53 yards, and that is notable. Henkel led the league in passing yards coming into this game, and he only able to put up 53 yards on 5 completions in the first half, and Jake LeBerge wasn't much better. He only had 5 completions as well on 15 attempts, 99 yards passing in that first half. And I mentioned sloppy play. The Raiders turned the ball over once. The Rebels turned the ball over 3 times, and penalties were a factor. 11 penalties for 90 yards against the Rebels. The Raiders 11 penalties for 119 yards. And there's a fumble on the handoff. And the Raiders have it. Are you kidding me? The crowd gets loud as the Rebels turn the ball over again. Their 5th turnover of the game. A botched handoff in the backfield, and the Raiders recover. I mean, disastrous doesn't even begin to describe the start to this half for the Rebels. Raiders will start at the Rebel 45-yard line. LeBerge, he wants more. He's going deep, and it's incomplete. No flags. Good coverage back there by Brox Comia, as the pass was intended for Marcel Grant. And the Rebels needing to stabilize here. Second and 10. This is a big play here already in this second half. The way it has started for Westshore, they need a play here. They're going to bring the blitz. LeBerge, pump fake, doesn't have it. Rolls, throws, incomplete. Rebels wanted a holding call, but none forthcoming. .13:30 on the clock here, so we are just a minute and a half into this third quarter, and already the Rebels have turned the ball over twice. The Raiders have already scored a touchdown, and now they'll finish their second drive of the third quarter with a punt. And not a good one. The result won't be bad, but that was ugly off the side of the foot. Flag is down, and I think that'll be no yards. Excellent hold by the Rebel defense. Shane Beatty, head coach of the Rebels, just told his squad, I told you we were going to face adversity. Coach was right about that. So finally, the Rebels will run an offensive play here, and it is a pass deep over the middle, and it is a catch, and a very good catch by Ron Warrior as he got popped by Givan McNally Hardesty at the end of that play. And they'll tend to the Rebel receiver, but it is a big gain, 25 yards. And Warrior is able to get off the field under his own power. So first down in midfield. And there's this underneath handoff play. Again, good yards there. As Poisson gets just about enough for a first down. And the Rebels have made a killing tonight with that underneath jet sweep handoff with the slot receiver coming in motion and just taking it. And it's really a tough play to defend, especially on the Canadian field, because you got the slot receiver coming underneath. He can get a full head of steam up. And with the field being so wide, if you run that to the wide side of the field, it's not that hard if you have a guy with some speed where you can get yourself a bit of room. Here's a wide receiver screen. And a first down for Lucas. Josh Lucas has had himself a nice game. Lucas had 3 catches for 26 yards in the first half, and he'll add on about 15 plus there. And a fresh set of downs. Great answer here from the Rebel offense after a terrible start to this half and relinquishing the lead that they have held since the first possession of this football game. But trailing by 1 point, the Rebels have moved the ball down the field very efficiently. Bit of confusion before this play. And they're going to send Lennox Murray off to the sidelines here. First down from the 30-yard line. Henkel drops the snap, gets away from the rush. Now he's going to run. And he'll have a short gain on an adventurous play. A long way to go for about a 3-yard gain. Second down, about 7. Henkel has time, just out of the reach of a diving Delaney Robinson. Third down, and they'll send out the kicking unit. This is going to be about a 34-yard attempt for Marco Dizzy. And it is good. A line drive just sneaks its way inside the upright. That is only the second field goal attempt of the season for Marco Dizzy, and he kicks a line drive from 34 yards. His longest field goal of the year as well. And the Rebels regain the lead. That was an excellent drive by the Rebels as they go back up 14-12. Started at their own 30-yard line, marched their way down the field, and picked up 3 points to stabilize the team after a really hectic start to the half for the Rebels, and they get points on the board as well, and they get back in the lead. LeBear's quick strike, first down, close to anyways. Dylan Pye hauls that in. He was the Raiders' leading receiver in the first half, and with that catch, Pye is over 50 yards receiving on the day, his third catch of the game. 1st and 10, and the Raiders are going to go no huddle. 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter. 14-12, Rebels lead after a 34-yard field goal from Marco Dizzy. Blitz into the run. Short gain. And Taylor Becker is down. And Becker's able to get off the field under his own power. Final score on the out-of-town scoreboards, 27-4, the Rams beating the Huskers. That is in the books. And the Okanagan Sun, 87-0, the final score over the Kamloops Broncos. So the Sun moved to 5-0, or I should say the Rams moved to 5-0. The Sun moved to 5-1. Valley falls to 2-4. Kamloops now 0-5 on the season. 2nd and about 6. Rebels sideline making noise for their defense. They're going to come with the all-out blitz, and LeBear's just going to go deep. And it's incomplete. Really nice coverage by Comia. Or that's Reese Gould, excuse me. Done a really nice job in coverage. And are the Raiders leaving the offense on the field here? Oh. Well, they're going to blow the play in, and the offense is on the field. On their own side of midfield, no less, on the 47-yard line, and now the Rebels are going to take a timeout as they want to talk this one over. A big, big play here. And we'll see if the Raiders elect to change their mind or not. They need 7. I should note, as we spent a lot of time talking about the weather and the conditions in the first half, things have improved, I think, quite a bit, actually, here. I don't know if it's the reignition of the propane heater or not, but it feels maybe a little bit warmer than it was. The wind has died down, though. I think that's the big factor here. It is no longer gusting. In fact, I can't really, I would say the wind, at least from our vantage point of the game, is pretty negligible. It is still raining, although much more lightly than it had been. Now you can get a sense there as you look at the light and see the rain falling. It is still, I think, blowing a bit for sure by the way that wind or that rain is kind of moving around the lights. So 3rd down, 7 yards. Raiders at their own 47-yard line, and they are going to leave the offense on the field. Oh, it's a pooch punt. And a good one as well. That hit a Rebel. And now it's a scramble over the loose ball, but maybe no yards. We'll see. I guess that would be no yards that hit the Rebel player, but he was right close to a Raider player. 14-12, Westshore leading, 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Wow. Big time penalty yardage against the Raiders there. Multiple fouls against the Raiders brings the ball all the way up to the 50-yard line, where the Rebels will start their third drive of the second half. And if you're just tuning in, maybe your halftime break went a little bit long. It was 11-6 for the Rebels coming out of the halftime locker room. Henkel is going to go deep here. A flag is down as that ball falls incomplete. And the Raider defense saying, what is the call? And I didn't see it clearly myself, but I think it's going to be on the defense. Yeah, illegal contact. So, as I said, it was 11-6 Rebels coming out of half, and they got the ball. So you're thinking, wow, we're the Rebels, we're leading 5 points, we get the ball, we have a chance to really put ourselves out ahead here and maybe create some distance for the first time in this game early in the third quarter. Instead, the Rebels fumbled the opening kickoff of the second half. Raiders recover. Next play, a 30-yard touchdown strike to Alex Bonnetplume from Jake LeBerge made it 12-11 for the Raiders as that pass falls incomplete. And then on the next drive, the Rebels fumbled the handoff, and the Raiders recovered that, but unable to get any points as the Raiders ended up punting the ball away. And then an excellent drive from Colby Henkel and his offense going all the way down the field from their own 30-yard line to set up a 34-yard field goal, and that has Westshore back out in front, 14-12. Midway through the third quarter, and again, this Rebel offense is moving after the penalty against the Raiders secondary. 2nd and 10. Blitz, low snap, gets it away to Lubin. He's got a first down. Oh, and Lubin with a authoritative stiff arm on the far side of the field. And a nice gain on 2nd down. And the Raiders brought the blitz, and they got burned as Henkel did exactly what you're taught to do. When you see the blitz coming, find your safety valve, and it was Zach Lubin out of the backfield. First down, 32-yard line of the Raiders. Blitz, Henkel gets it away as he's hit, and the ball falls incomplete. And the Rebels have had their successes tonight on offense, and not a ton with the passing game, but the one thing the Raiders have done well is contain Kieran Poisson. He was leading the league in receiving coming to this game. And I don't know if number 8 has much to his name. He's carried the ball a couple times in this game for success, but the Raiders have been able to bottle him up so far. 2nd and 10. Another blitz, this time deep. Incomplete, looking for Josh Lucas. 3rd down. And they are going to send out that field goal unit again. Marco Dizzy hit from 34 moments ago. This would be 39 yards. 2 for 2 on the season is Marco Dizzy. So he certainly has not been very busy. Good snap, good hold, no good. Hits the line. And the ball is scampering down to the goal line here. The Raiders will bring it out. And now look, room up the left side. And a nice return by Will Adams as he brings that out. So a missed field goal there as that one had no chance as it drilled the line. And the Raiders will start here with their own 26-yard line. Trailing this game 14-12. And aside from that touchdown pass to Bonnet Plume, it has been hard to come by on offense, and now flag down, and it's going to be delay a game. And you hate to see that kind of penalty for so many reasons. First of all, you have a 23-year-old veteran quarterback who you just expect not to make mental errors like that, and then it's coming after a change of possession. So, you know, when you have a change of possession like that, your offense should be ready on the sidelines to go, have a play call in mind, and get on the field and execute. A costly 5 yards to start the drive. It's 1st and 15 now. And this is going backwards even further here. They tried the underneath handoff to Bonnet Plume, and he goes down. Second and very long. About 25 to go. And they'll try to get it all. And they will. Flag is down, though. And we'll see how this call goes. They're saying it's against the Raiders as Bradbrook came back to the ball, but I think they're going to say that he pushed away. And that will negate a big 1st down play. So the pass interference against Bradbrook negates a big 1st down play, and it'll be 2nd and even longer than it was before. Raiders are going to snap this ball from their own 5-yard line. They need to get to the 36 for a 1st down. LeBears just ran out and had a word with Bonnet Plume. Now he looks like he's changing the play a bit here at the line. And LeBears doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to run instead, and he's going to go down. Nice play. Tracking him down from behind was DeMar Hoinstein. Now he's down on the turf. In this half so far, and we're 10 minutes into the third quarter, 6 penalties against the Raiders, none for the Rebels. And they've really cleaned it up because the Rebels took 11 penalties in the first half. Both teams did, actually. The Raiders have continued the trend, while the Rebels have cleaned things up. And that wasn't, I had the wrong number there. That's 42. Cordell Holder, who's coming off the field after making the tackle on Jake LeBerge. 14-12, Westshore has the lead. Not a great punt here. Low liner. Bounces into the hands of Delaney Robinson. He's going to try and go wide and lose yards. There's a flag down, though. Could this be the 7th penalty of the half? The quarter already against the Raiders. Oh. Rebels had too many men on the field. Raiders are going to kick the ball again here. And the one thing I would say is one of the older idioms in the football textbook is if you make your cover team cover the ball 2 times in a row as advantage return team is general thinking anyways. But considering it wasn't a great kick, the Raiders, I think, are obviously hoping, hey, let's get some better field position than we just had. Based on what we have witnessed tonight, this is a kick into the wind. And it is a better kick. And a great bounce for the Raiders, so there we go. And the coverage team does the job, so there you have it. Great decision to accept that penalty by the Raiders coaching staff and Curtis Visa. And they gain themselves a good chunk of yardage. The Rebels will start much further back than they initially would have. This is a huge game in the standings. Big playoff implications here, as this is the first game of the second half of this shortened 8-game BCFC schedule this year. Henkel pass, right on the money and dropped by Roy Uth. And the man who scored the first touchdown of this football game, unable to deliver what would have been a big catch there. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. 2-point Rebel lead. 2nd and 10 from their own 46. Henkel calling the shots at the line of scrimmage here. And the flag goes down. Delay of game. I mentioned the costly nature of a penalty against a veteran quarterback, and, well, it's the exact same thing on that side of the field, too. Henkel himself, a 23-year-old veteran quarterback who knows how to manage the time clock and just didn't do it properly there. And makes a big difference. 2nd and 10 instead, 2nd and 15. Much different play options at the disposal of the offensive coordinator when you only need 10 instead of 15. Raiders bring 4-man pressure. Henkel time, deep. Up the seam for Poissant, incomplete. And you could see that referee over there on the far side of the field thought about maybe, but no. And it falls into the ground and a 3rd down upcoming. So this drive goes backwards for Westshore. It's a good kick, using that wind. Flag comes out on one far end of the field. And Sam McPherson and Riley Pierce were entangled in a very heated confrontation way behind the play. And you can see John Popplestone, the head referee, having a conversation with the Rebels linebacker saying to let that go. Both of the players lucky, I think, that they weren't penalized there. There's a flag back at the end of that return as well. Haven't been many special teams plays without a flag for the last bit here. It's causing this game to go extremely slow. Trying to figure out all these penalties. Not a clean game by these two teams by any stretch. Oh my goodness. So a false start and an unnecessary roughness against the Rebels, and 2 unnecessary roughness penalties against the Raiders. How many undisciplined acts can you achieve on one play? The answer is 4, apparently. 3:20 left to go in this third quarter. 14-12, Rebels hanging on to a lead here. It is a 34-yard field goal that is the difference in this game right now. The referees taking their time to assess this. This will be a new experience for football fans in Nanaimo to be watching a game at this time of night. 9:25. We're not even out of the third quarter here yet.
Yards from the...
Because, of course, this is the first season the Raiders playing at a field with lights. After 15 seasons at Caledonia Park, just down the road from here, of course, where there are no lights. They get a chance to play under the lights night football against their island rivals, the Battle of the Rock, here on Thanksgiving weekend. And a happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there tuning in on bcfctv.com. Thanks for joining us. Dominic Abassi with the call, Alan Felker on the camera, and Paul Short pulling stats. as we all try to keep warm up here in the broadcast booth on a brisk and, pretty classic Vancouver Island fall night,
NDSS
really.
Sports Field, so last call. Last.
So what I was able to hear from all that was the net difference of all the penalties was a 10-yard positive gain for the Rebels. Had the Raiders accepted the false start penalty that was the first penalty, the end result would have been that going from a 3rd and 14 to a replay of 3rd down, but it would have been 3rd and 4. And instead, the Raiders elected to decline that penalty, but then they lost 15 yards because they had the extra unnecessary roughness penalty. And at the end of the day, that means that the Raiders start at their own 20-yard line. And they trail this game 14-12, nearing the end of the third quarter. Second and 9. LeBerge throws complete. Great broken tackle. And a huge gain and a first down near midfield. And a fantastic run after the catch from Marcel Grant as he pulled off the spinorama to break the tackle. And that would have been short of a first down had the tackle been made there, but Marcel Grant spins away. Great yards after the catch and a first down. LeBerge now wants to go deep to Bonnet Plume, and he's got it! Jake LeBerge and Alex Bonnet Plume. One of the more dynamic duos in the league when it comes to passing yardage, connecting for a big gain. A 36-yard passing catch, and now LeBerge is going to run, and he's got a chance to the goal line. Touchdown, Raiders! An explosive drive, and the veteran LeBerge puts his team in the lead. Three plays, the length of the field, and the Raiders have the lead. An explosive drive. And Jake LeBerge scrambles and runs it in. A 24-yard rushing touchdown. And the extra point, no good. So it's 18-14. The Raiders have not converted any of their touchdowns tonight, by the way. And they would have a 7-point lead right now had they done that. So we'll keep an eye on that situation and what that might mean in a very close football game here. That is the third lead change of this third quarter. And it is momentum swinging wildly here in a wild third quarter. Still have 90 seconds left in it. Squib kick towards the sidelines, and it again goes out of bounds. That is the third time the Raiders have kicked the ball out of bounds. Handoff to Lubin. Nice gain on first down. Moves the chains up to midfield. And the one thing the Rebels have done for all their mistakes here in this third quarter is answer. And they have answered. When the Raiders took the lead early in the quarter, the Rebels were able to march back down the field, get a field goal. And now it's Lubin with another big gain. This one almost 20 to the Raider 42-yard line. About 30 yards rushing on back-to-back handoffs to Zach Lubin. And the Rebels quickly into Raider territory as this turns into a bit of a back-and-forth affair here. And finally, the Raiders have an answer to that underneath handoff play. Kieran Poisson pulled down by Sean Murray in the backfield, and the Rebels had been having their way with that play tonight. But a good stop there brings up second and long. Critical play here, what will be the final play of the third quarter. Lubin trying to grind his way towards the marker, and he has a good gain on second and long. We'll see which way the Rebels choose to go here. With a third down facing them starting the fourth quarter of this game. Rebels are going to leave the offense on the field. 3rd and 5, first play of the fourth quarter. Raiders up by 4 points. They'll hand it off to Lubin. He won't get it. He will not get the first down. The Raiders actually came out of the pod with the ball, and now a flag comes out late. Whether it's a fumble or a turnover on downs, either way, it is Raider football. But what is this flag here now? And the Raiders have taken just too many penalties in this half. Now John Popplestone, the head referee, comes over to have a conversation with Rebels head coach Shane Beatty here. Late flag at the end of that play, and they were having a conversation with Dan Mugisha. I'm not sure what's going to be going down here. Now they're talking to the game commissioner, so perhaps an ejection could be at hand here.
I believe they've sorted it out. We'll just wait for the official call from Mr. Popplestone.
Extensive conversations, deliberations at the end of this play. The Raiders' offense is on the field, so it looks like whatever the flag was or whatever the situation is, the Raiders are going to take over, and it will be a turnover on downs, the 6th turnover of the day against the Rebels, and only 1 for the Raiders. So despite the fact the Raiders have taken too many penalties in this game and this half, they have protected the ball better than Westshore, and it has put themselves in a scenario where they have a 4-point lead at the start of this 4th quarter. And a huge defensive stand there by the Raiders on a 3rd and 5.
Conduct disqualification, number 21 Black. Number 21 Black has been disqualified for the rest of the game, and it's first down.
So number 75, Dan Mugisha, has been disqualified from the game. Not exactly sure what the infraction was, but he is done for the night. And the Raiders will take over after forcing a turnover on downs at their own 35 with a 4-point lead. Rebels, they're going to bring the blitz, and LeBears is going to throw deep. And it's caught! And this Raider passing game has come to life. Marin Bradbrook beats his man, makes the catch over Reese Gould, and it is a big gainer. About 36 yards. And Bradbrook, now they're going to go deep again, and it's Marcel Grant, and he drags the toes. Where has this offensive attack been? The Raiders' passing game, explosive. And that had not been the case all night long. Well, 160 yards passing for Jake LeBerge in this second half after he could barely move the ball, and that one almost picked off as the pass broken up by Jeffrey Ojong. LeBear struggled mightily in the first half, had 100 yards passing, but much of that coming towards the end of the half on a couple of long completions against softer Rebels coverage, but he has come out slinging it, over 150 yards passing in this 3rd quarter plus about a minute of this 4th quarter. And the Raiders knocking on the door here, 2nd and 10 from the Rebel 15. LeBerge, he's going to roll, and he's going to break a tackle. And he's still on his feet. Now he flips it to the end zone. Touchdown! A gorgeous catch by Alex Bonnetplume. His 2nd touchdown of the half. And the Raiders extend the lead. Jake LeBerge puts the team on his back. A drive that started at the Raiders' own 35-yard line. About 4 plays later, they're into the end zone and extend their lead. Bonnet Plume, his second touchdown catch of this half, his 5th of the season. That is a league-leading 10th passing touchdown for Jake LeBerge. And the Raiders, an extra point to come. And the momentum has wildly swung in favor of the home team. They're up 10, potentially 11, pending this extra point, although these have not been routine tonight. And this one is good. 25-14. Alex Bonaplume has 44 yards on 2 catches, both for touchdowns in this third quarter plus a minute or so of the fourth quarter. And Jake LeBerge, about 165 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in the second half alone. And he is 5 for 12, or 7 for 12 in this half, it looks like. A complete turnaround from the performance in the first half for Jake LeBerge, who statistically moved into second place in just about every passing category, passing touchdowns, passing yards. He will not catch Jordan Yance at the end of his career, that not even in the realm of possibilities, but still the second most prolific passer statistically in BCFC history, has put his team on his back in this second half. And the combination of that and turnovers by the Rebels as the ball is down again, and they've turned it over again. What can go wrong has gone wrong for the Rebels in this half. A fumble on the kickoff, their 5th fumble of the night, their 7th turnover. Jake LeBerge wants more as he is victimizing this Rebels secondary in the second half. That one knocked down, though. As double coverage on Bradbrook. This is quite the swing of events here in this game. And the Rebels can certainly look back to some missed opportunities in that first half where they were unable to come away with points in good situations. LeBerge, the veteran, look at that play. And Marcel Grant is hard to bring down. It's a first down inside the 15-yard line, and all on the veteran presence of Jake LeBerge. Breaks the pocket as the protection falls apart, breaks a tackle, scampers, the awareness to stop short of the line of scrimmage and dump that ball off for Grant. It is just impressive stuff right now from the Raider 23-year-old pivot. And he's knocking on the door again, quickly here. Raiders with a chance to get a second touchdown in the last 2 minutes. LeBerge, look at the confidence. Rolls, throws, out of bounds, but a great diving catch there. As Bonnet Plume was looking for his 3rd touchdown of the half. And Marcel Grant has been a favorite target in this half as well. He has over 100 yards receiving on 4 catches in this half alone. Does Marcel Grant. Second and 10. Big down for the Rebel defense. Can they hold? They'll blitz. Well, no, it's a 4-man pressure. Throw incomplete, just too far. And the Raiders are going to send on the field goal team to try and extend the lead here. Boy, oh boy, the special teams has been really not good for the Raiders tonight. You can tell a lot about the cohesion of the operation by how they're able to get on and off the field. And, I mean, at one point tonight, the Raiders came out for their punt. They didn't have their punter out there. Now they're missing one of their linemen on the field goal. I mean, these are easy mistakes to fix. The kind of things you address at training camp. I don't think, am I reading the stats wrong here? I don't think the Raiders have attempted a field goal this season. This would be the first field goal attempt this year in game number 5, if I'm reading the stats correctly here. And there you go. We should do that more often. The Raiders bang it through. Paul Romanoff. 28-yard field. How long was that field goal there, Paul? 21-yard field goal. And the Raiders make it 28-14. By the stats I have in front of me, that's the first field goal of the season by the Raiders. First, not the first one they've made either, the first one they've attempted. Two-score lead for the home side now. 11 minutes to go. This is an incredibly slow-moving football game. I mean, we're closing in on 3 hours, and we still have 11 minutes of a quarter to play. I've seen some slow, long games in my career, too, but this is... Now, Josh Williams, who is the Raiders' general manager, is having a conversation down with Shane Beatty. Or is that Josh? That's not Josh Williams. I think, is that Curtis Visa? Yeah, it is. It's Curtis Visa and Shane Beatty having a conversation. The two head coaches and the referee, John Popplestone, is there as well. Your guess is as good as mine on what that conversation is about. Who's that? That is Josh Williams, excuse me. He shaved his beard. He's tricking me down there. He usually has a very large beard. I'm not exactly sure. They're pointing down at the far end zone. Now, if there's a problem with the time clock or what the situation is, but either way, Westshore is going to start this drive 1st and 10 from their own 35 and an incomplete pass from Henkel. And this Westshore team has gone completely flat. in this half, I mean, let's break down the possessions. They fumble the opening kickoff. The next drive, they fumble a handoff. Then they march down the field and get a 34-yard field goal. Then a missed field goal, a punt, a turnover on downs, a fumbled kickoff, and now their 7th drive of this half. So Rebels able to move the chains here and get a first down. First and 10. From their own 47, Henkel. Complete. That's a great catch. It's a well, some of the Raiders coaching staff up here in the broadcast area yelling that was only 1 foot. Correct. You only need 1 foot in this league. And so that's a great catch by Josh Lucas as he dragged the 1 foot on his way out of bounds and moves the chains again inside the Raider 50-yard line. It'll be the football we watch tomorrow that you need to get 2 feet down for it to count. Henkel tries a sidearm attempt here, and that falls incomplete. Ten minutes to go. 28-14 Raiders leading. Second down. Well, and they've the delay that and that conversation. Now I know what it was about, and then the delay was there's an ambulance that has been called into the field here that has just pulled up down to the far left of our broadcast spot here. I'm not entirely sure who that's for. Well, we got a Westshore player evidently requiring the ambulance, so that will further delay the proceedings here. So they're going to bring the ambulance right over to the Rebels bench area. And you certainly hate to see this. Minutes on the clock. In the fourth quarter, 28-14, Raiders have the lead. On the out-of-town scoreboard today, the Okanagan Sun with an 87-0 victory over the Kamloops Broncos. And the Langley Rams, 27-4 win over the Valley Huskers. So continue to see the Rams and the Sun pacing the league with their 5 wins apiece. And this game has a lot of implications on the standings. And if the Raiders can hang on here, puts them in a very good spot. They would be 2 wins clear of Westshore with 3, and Westshore is still on 1 if this result holds. And not only that, but the Raiders would have 3 wins to the Valley Huskers 2, plus a game in hand, plus the Raiders beat the Huskers last week in the head-to-head. Now, those 2 teams will play again here in the final week of the regular season, and that has a potential to be the difference maker for that 3-4 spot. But if the Rebels cannot pick up a victory and turn the tide in the final 10 minutes of this game, they are going to be in a very tough position to try and get themselves into the playoffs. I can't see which Rebel player that is down there in the training tent, and or nor do I know what the nature of the injury is, but obviously of a serious nature if they have called in the ambulance here. And you just hope, obviously, that whatever the situation is, that it is not going to be too serious. And certainly what everyone hates to see. It cannot be that serious, in as much as the ambulance did not come in with the lights on, and in the sense that it was like a timely emergency for sure. Often we'll see an ambulance brought in for a bone break, a serious leg injury, something like that. And this will be challenging for these players. In a lot of ways. I mean, for the Rebels, you've got one of your teammates, one of your brothers, who's, being taken away to the hospital here. And then, for both sides now, it is not a warm evening at all. It at least has stopped raining and the wind has died to some extent, but it is cool here. And it won't be easy for them to get loose. And keep those muscles warm. And then, of course, you worry about the muscle pulls when your muscles are warm, and then you get cold standing on the sideline. Next up for these teams, Westshore Rebels home to Langley next Sunday at Starlight Stadium in Langford. Raiders will hit the road Saturday night in the Apple Bowl, taking on the Okanagan Sun, 7 o'clock kickoff next weekend. And then these two teams will meet on October 23rd, again down at Starlight Stadium in Langford. Always a lot of fun and a great atmosphere when the Raiders travel over the Malahat to take on the Rebels. It's a raucous atmosphere at Starlight usually, and the combination of all of the Raiders fans in the house and the Rebel faithful usually makes for a pretty fun affair. And these delays are very, very tough on the. It's so hard to resume an intense battle on the field after something like this happens. And both teams will try and get the blood pumping and the juices flowing again here. So we certainly hope the best. And we'll get back underway shortly here as John Popplestone has given the teams a couple of minutes to get loose and get warm. 10 minutes on the clock. Raiders up 28-14. And just to recap, this was an 11-6 game in favor of the Westshore Rebels. I mean, at one point, this game was 11-0 Westshore. And 11-6 at the half. And Westshore has really come out and, for all intents and purposes, imploded in the second half. Their defense has been torched by Jake LeBerge, who is throwing for over 160 yards in this half alone, really in one quarter as well. Marcel Grant has over 100 yards receiving on 4 catches in this half. And the Sun, or I should say the Rebels, have turned the ball over 7 times in the game, including 3 fumbles and a turnover on downs in this half. And the Raiders have scored points on 3 consecutive drives. Back-to-back touchdown scoring drives and then a field goal to put themselves up 28-14. And now the difficult task for these players after an injury timeout to get revamped. And as I said, I don't have an official number on who that Rebel player is in the ambulance or the nature of the injury. I don't want to speculate and I don't want to pass along incorrect information. So I can't update the exact nature of that situation. As the flag comes out here, it looks like it's going to be pass interference. I said I don't want to speculate or pass along incorrect information that might create anxiety or concern for a family that maybe doesn't need to be. So we just hope the best and send our well wishes and positive thoughts for the Rebel player. But now to the task at hand, and his Rebel teammates are going to try and mount a comeback here with 9 minutes to go in this game, down 2 scores. They get a pass interference penalty, and that's going to move the sticks. Henkel in the shotgun, Lubin beside him. 3 wide receivers top side, they'll delay handoff. And Zachary Lubin has had a very good second half. He's probably been the only Rebel to produce in this half, as he's up over about 40 yards rushing in this half alone. Second and maybe a yard. Great situation for an offensive coordinator. Playbook is wide open here. Probably see a handoff here. No, they're going to pass. Henkel. Deep. End zone. Fight for the ball and a touchdown. Great catch. Josh Lucas stays red hot. He's been huge all game. He goes up and over the defender and beats his man in a one-on-one battle. That is a great catch and a touchdown right back in this game, and a flag comes out late. Gorgeous pass, put the ball in a position. Objectionable conduct against the Raiders at the end of that play. For Henkel, his 6th passing touchdown of the season. The extra point is good. And Josh Lucas has had himself a great game. Henkel's 6th passing touchdown of the year. And it's 28-21, and we are not done here. It might take us till midnight, but somebody is going to win this back and forth affair. 4 catches. Four catches for over 70 yards for Josh Lucas in this second half. And with under 9 minutes left to go, the Rebels will kick off from the midfield stripe because of the penalty against the Raiders. Gives the Rebels a chance to bury the Raiders here deep in their own end. Oh boy, the short kickoff is fumbled, and the Rebels are going to scoop it up. Holy cow! That is something I have never seen before. This is one of the just more bizarre football games I have seen in a long time. That kickoff hit the return man at about the 15-yard line. It ricocheted about 35 yards up the field, right into the hands of the Rebel kickoff team. The second turnover of the game. And the Rebels, down by 7, are right back into Raider territory with a first down. And they'll hand it off to Lubin. Or they won't. They faked the handoff to Lubin, I should say. And they even faked out our cameraman there, and a nice fake as well. 5 yards on first down. 8:09 left on the clock. Raiders up by 7 points. And Westshore looking to tie this ball game up after the fumbled kickoff. Absolutely bizarre. That ball ricocheted probably 35 yards back up the field, and that's too easy. A first down and more as Lubin is powering his way down to the 10-yard line. First and 10 from the 10-yard line. Handoff, short gain. Seven minutes and counting on the clock. Huge second down play from the 11-yard line. Rebels will pass. Blitz coming. Henkel's in trouble. Gets out of it. Throws it up. No flags. Incomplete. And the offense, you would have to figure, will stay on the field here. Biggest play of the game yet. Third down. Rebels can get a first down without scoring. They would have to get to the inch-yard line to do that. Bad snap. Ball's on the ground. Henkel scoops it up, and he's going to go down. The bad snap buries the Rebels on a third down, a critical play. And they'll turn it over on downs. Their 8th turnover of the game. .520 left to go. Raiders with a short gain on first down. A critical second down here for this Rebel defense. They need a play. LeBerge throws, got his fullback, Taylor Becker, coming out of the backfield, and he runs over a man. And there's a flag down though. Oh, and it's coming back. And the Raiders hadn't taken a penalty in what seems like a long time considering their pace at the start of this game. But a holding call is going to bring this one back. Oh, that's a huge penalty. A killer. Of all people, Taylor Becker, who also has a touchdown in this game, mind you, The fullback leaking out of the backfield, a huge gain, but all for naught because of the hold. And it's going to be 2nd and 20 because of the holding penalty with 5 minutes to go in the game. Raiders up 28-21. LeBerge, deep, incomplete, lunging for that was Bradbrook. And a nice job in coverage there by Reese Gould, who's been at the center of a lot of action tonight. He's been beaten a few times. He's made some good plays too. 4:46 on the clock, and the Rebel defense does its job. We've seen 3 lead changes in this half alone. And the Raiders hoping we don't see any more. As they lead by 7, and they're going to punt this ball, you would think. Or do they give up the points here? I mean, I think the field position might mean more than the 2 points. This is a tough decision here, actually, and I wonder. You kick it away. You don't want to give up any points. You're only up 7, but well, now yeah, I mean, I think here you have to give up the safety. Yeah. And the Raiders are going to yield 2 points here, so the lead down to 6. 3rd safety of the game. 28-23. Raiders lead. 4:40 on the clock. I mean, really, frankly, one of the stranger football games I've ever seen. Both teams have taken probably over 15 penalties each, way over 100 yards in penalties. The Rebels have turned the ball over 8 times. The Raiders only 2. We've seen, I mean, alone tonight, I don't think I've ever seen this. We've seen 4 different kickoffs turned over by fumble. First and 10, Henkel from his own 30, and there's a bad snap. Oh my goodness. Even the most basic of operations are painful at this point between these two teams. And a lot of people maybe thought they would never see the day there'd be a nighttime football game in Nanaimo featuring the Raiders and the Rebels. And here we have it. And everything else about this night is about as weird as that occurrence in itself. 3:45 on the clock. A huge down, 2nd and a mile because of the bad snap. Rebels need some yardage here. And they will go to a man who they've gone to many times in this half, Josh Lucas. And he's got a very critical 20-ish yard gain back to the original line of scrimmage, and that was massive. 3:20 and counting on the clock, 5-point Raider lead. I cannot understate how huge that play just was right there. Or overstate, I should say. Brings up a 3rd and 9. Henkel in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers topside. Raiders are going to bring 6-man pressure. They get through. Henkel hit as he throws it. It's a first down, and then the ball is loose, and it's recovered by the Rebels. And the debate can be on whether that was even a catch, as Kieran Poissant caught it for a second and then dropped it, and the ball scoots loose, and now the referee's chatting. I don't know if that was a catch. Did he complete a football move? That's the question, and there's no, obviously, benefit of can hear Shane Beatty yelling. He made a football move. I don't know that he did, Coach. And this is easily the most pivotal call of this football game. The whole game hinges on this call. And it is a first down. The play will stand. Wow. Massive call. It would have been a turnover on downs. Instead, it's a first down on third down. Henkel's going to pass again, and he wants to go deep. And he's got a chance at Poissant, but it was just, that's Lucas, excuse me, but it falls incomplete. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We've seen a bit of everything here tonight, quite literally. So many things have happened in this game that happened like once a season. And they've happened 5 times tonight. 2:40 on the clock, 5-point Raider lead, 2nd and 10 from midfield. Henkel, he's going to tuck it and run, and he's got the first down. And he slides down at the 40. And he's showing me for saying he was perhaps not the most mobile of quarterbacks early in this game. Plenty mobile there. And now we've got a cramping Raider. I mean, I think that's Sean Murray for the Raiders who's getting attention from the training staff now. Well, it's not Sean Murray. I'm wrong. It's Cody Harper. 34, not 24. Clock winding. 2:30 and counting. 5-point Raider lead. 1st and 10 at the Raider 38-yard line. Henkel in the shotgun. He's going to throw again. He gets it away, and it will fall out of the reach of Ron Waria. 3-down territory, obviously, for the Rebels. That's where you might want to watch out for maybe Zach Lubin leaking out of the backfield, something to that effect. Get some yards here to set up a makeable 3rd down. The Raiders have blitzed pretty frequently in these types of situations. 2:17 on the clock. Henkel, well, forget about the pass to the back. He's going deep instead, and a flag comes out. Delani Robinson falling down as he tried to catch that ball, and a flag. Wow, that's a big call. Pass interference. It's going to be a free 1st down. The fans do not like it. That is a massive call. 2:11 left on the clock. 5-point Raider lead. 1st and 10 at the 23. Delayed handoff. Lubin not gonna get it. Stopped at the line. Second, forget about being stopped at the line. They actually marked Lubin for a loss. So second and long. Pass flies incomplete. No flags. Third down. And it comes down to this. Minute 49 on the clock. Raiders up 28-23. Third and 12 from the 35-yard line. 25-yard line, excuse me. This is the ball game. Henkel, end zone. Lucas got held. He wants a flag, but there isn't one. And it's a turnover on downs, and the Rebel receiver has a case as he got tugged on the back of the jersey as he broke out of his route there. No flag. Another turnover on downs, the 9th turnover of the night by the Rebels, and their defense must come through here. 1:42 on the clock. Raiders up by 5. Trying to hang on. In a game they were once down 11-0. They trailed at the half, did the Raiders. We've seen 3 lead changes in this second half. Jake LeBerge, the veteran quarterback, and his receiving crew have come out on a mission in this second half. They torched the Rebels defense for nearly 200 passing yards in the third quarter alone. LeBerge with 2 passing touchdowns, but the Raiders have made enough mistakes. They've taken enough penalties, and the Rebels have done just enough to keep themselves right in this ball game within striking distance with 90 seconds left. And a pivotal 2nd and 5 upcoming here. Shane Beatty used one of his timeouts to stop the clock after that play. LeBerge will throw. Thought about running. Now he's not. Now he won't. Now he's going down. Deep in the backfield. Phoenix Mahler. First time we've said his name tonight, and he gets through for a sack and brings up third down. Raiders barely took any time off the clock with that possession. And it will be a punt. And, I mean, if the Raiders choose to give up 2 points here, that would make this a 3-point game, and it would give the Rebels a chance to only need a field goal. The Rebels running guys on and off the field, a lot of confusion, but I think they're all set. They're going to come after this, and the Raiders are going to give up 2. Wow. Interesting decision. I'm not saying I disagree, but it's interesting. How will that play out? 1 minute, 26 seconds remaining. A 3-point Raider lead. We're 3.5 hours after kickoff now. What can Colby Henkel do? The veteran. Can he lead a game-tying or game-winning drive? Well, he's going to go deep on first down, and it's incomplete. Intended for Roy Uth, and it falls to the ground. Three points. That's all the Rebels need to tie this game. 2nd and 10 from their own 35-yard line. That ball is going to fly over the head of its intended target, and we're down to 3rd and 10. Another must-have 3rd down. Henkel throws it up. No flags. And it's another turnover on downs with 70 seconds left on the clock. Ten turnovers now tonight for Westshore. Although to be fair to them, 4 of them are turnover on downs and in situations where they absolutely had to go for it. Westshore, I don't believe, has any timeouts left. Raiders need to kill 70 seconds to win this game. They lead by 3. LeBerge, he's in trouble. Why on earth would you pass the ball on that down? I don't know. I don't know what to say. The clock stops because of the Raiders' decision to throw the ball there. They killed 7 seconds off the clock. Second and 10. And they're going to pass again. Play action. Bonnet Plume's got it. And he's going to score. And that'll do it. No flags down. 35-yard touchdown strike. 3rd of the game for that connection. A hat trick for Alex Bonnet Plume. And the 3rd touchdown pass of the game for Jake LeBerge. And that will do it for this ball game. The Raiders are going to win this one. Oh my goodness. What a decision. They don't pass it, or they don't run it at all. They throw the ball twice, and they end this football game for all intents and purposes. It's the final minutes to play out here. Wow. An absolutely bizarre football game, I have to be honest. And the game sheet, the stats will not tell the story of this football game, I'll tell you that. There's just no way to encapsulate what we've seen here tonight in nearly 4 hours of action. And the Rebels won't be getting home until well after midnight tonight. And they won't be a happy bunch. an 11-0 lead, a halftime lead, and a third quarter lead as well at one point is going to all add up to a loss. And the VI Raiders got what they needed from their veteran quarterback, Jake LeBears. Just a huge second half for him. 3 passing touchdowns, all of them to Alex Bonnet-Plume. I think he'll be in the conversation for Player of the Week for sure. 53 seconds on the clock. 35-25, Raiders lead. And the Raiders will move to 3-2 on the season. And they will actually, as well, pick up their first ever victory here at the NDSS field, in their new home. And I got to hand it to every single one of the people that came out here for this game tonight. Because it has been cold, the weather has been miserable, and they have sat here for nearly 4 hours with no cover. Most of them with no heat, with the exception of the industrious crew that has a fire pit over there. And they have been treated to a lot of interesting stuff. The pass over the middle. The flag comes down behind the play as Josh Lucas adds more yards to his total. Depending on what this flag is, that should be well over roughing the passer against the Raiders. So Lucas will go over 100 yards receiving on the day, and there'll be 15 yards added onto the end of that. Raiders have taken 24 penalties in this football game. 24 penalties. And, you know, back in my day, we used to have to run. If we took too many penalties, we had to run more and more at the end or start of practice. And I don't even know what would have happened had we taken 24 penalties in a game. It probably would have run for a week. 30 seconds to go in this game. Rebels aren't done. They're still trying to march up the field. They trail by 10 points, though. Third down upcoming. Henkel breaks 2 tackles and is picked. Oh, he dropped it. Guy Van McNally Hardesty puts it on the ground. He had 2 interceptions last week, the CJFL Defensive Player of the Week. Not much luck there, but either way, it's a turnover on downs. And the Raiders will take 2 knees, and they will win this football game. And head into the second half of the season in 3rd place. And what a performance by Jake LeBarish, really. After a tough first half, he only completed 5 passes in the first half. And really was fighting it. But to have the composure to come back out of the locker room and do what he did, over 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns in the second half, all of those touchdowns thrown to Alex Bonnetplume, a hat trick for him. And the Raiders hang on, a weird one, folks, but a 35-25 win in the Battle of the Rock here on Thanksgiving weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. Big thanks to our whole crew here, Paul Short, Alan Felker. My name's Dominic Abbasi. I really appreciate you being with us here tonight. Have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you get a chance to enjoy some time with your loved ones and those around you. Raiders win 35-25. The Battle of the Rock belongs to the Raiders. These two teams will do it again down in Westshore in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night from Nanaimo.